Hi guys, thank you everyone for tuning in. Another wonderful episode of MaxWeb video podcast. Today we have a very special friend here with us. And if you're tuning in on Spotify or any of your favorite platforms, please make sure to save some time later tonight to watch this on video because our friend has some amazing slides for us. So, without further ado, my dear friend Daniel is here with us today, and I will let him share a bit about himself. I know a lot of you guys know him, especially in the copywriting world, but I won't do it justice. So, I'll let him tell you a bit about himself.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the warm intro, Anna. Yeah, it's great to be here. Hi, I'm Daniel Doan. I'm a direct response conversion copywriter. Been doing copywriting for the past 10 or so years, give or take. And yeah, I just love conversion psychology. I love direct response. I love the art of persuasion. Written copy for some of the biggest brands in America, including MaxWeb. And yeah, just excited to be here. I'm excited to talk shop, talk copy, and yeah, boost conversions and yeah, all that good jazz.
That's wonderful. And honestly, such an honor for us to have you here with us. A lot of our affiliate partners, not just internally for our traffic, but, a lot of our affiliates indirectly have to be good at copywriting because in order to have a strong pre-sale, even when I don't know, you write the copy of the quiz for Facebook or social or YouTube, you really need to be good at copywriting. So, we try to learn as much as we can, but as any other affiliate, I'll tell you the same. It doesn't come naturally to us the way it comes to you. I know it's so much easier for you to write copy. So I'm really excited. I have my notepad ready, so I'm going to be taking a lot of notes. And just thank you so much. I know how busy you are, so for you to make the time for us, it's a huge honor. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. This is an honor for me as well.
Absolutely. So I have a few questions that we got from our affiliates, and we'll let some of our friends ask live. But right now, I'll let you get into the slides. They look beautiful. The yellow is my favorite. I don't know about you, but
Yeah. Always got to be on brand with the banana yellow. Okay. Yeah. So this is my presentation. 44 lethal copywriting mistakes that might accidentally kill your landing page conversions. Landing pages are super important for almost any offer online. And if you make one or two mistakes here and there, it's not too bad. But if you make like a whole bunch of these, like it's gonna kill your conversion rates, and it's gonna increase your cost per acquisition, and it's just gonna not end well. So yeah. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's go on to the first slide. Number one, so lack of credibility. So if your copy doesn't have enough proof or proof of success or points that reassure that your offer will actually deliver on its promises, then it makes it not credible. So lose trust, right? So create more proof points, more testimonials, more proof of success, more transformations, and then truly demonstrate the visual and truly demonstrate the value in a visual way. So showcase the offer in a more direct and visual way through copy, and you can use kind of more more words that convey visuals instead of just like text. So the whole adage show don't tell kind of thing. Next, overly logical. If the copy is overly logical, it doesn't stir emotion, then it might come off dull, drab, and kind of lifeless. How to fix it? More emotion up front. So like you see a lot of things that you say, okay, like sound like an emotion sandwich, right? So it's emotion, hook, logical sales argument, transition, and then emotional close. So typically more emotion upfront is really good. And then also, again, more visual copy, write in ways that showcases movement. So always lead with like a verb, or something that conveys like more movement instead of just, oh, like blah blah. This is like logic, logic, logic.
Oh, so start with a verb. I like that one.
Yeah.
That actually makes sense. And overly logical, would you say that I'm trying to think of an example. So it would be something if we're trying to use too many facts. So if you're, trying to sell a diet supplement, if you start with a lot of facts about how many people in the world are overweight, that's probably too logical.
Yes. It's gonna kind of like remind you of like college days or something that university where it's just like kind of like you're being lectured to, right? So yeah, it's always important to hook with emotion and then lead into logic. So leading with logic and like starting off with more and more logic.
Makes sense. Got it.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Next slide. Dual transformation. So if your copy makes your offer sound too hard, then it's not going to be good. Or if your prospect feels that moving forward, like by now, or um, book a call, it's going to be a painful and confusing process. So it's going to be good. And the reason why is because going from, I guess, like a prospect to like a lead to a customer needs to be easy, right? Like they're already paying money for your offer, so like might as well like make that like as seamless as possible for them. Don't accidentally put in too many roadblocks, right? So how to fix it is you need to really create or like make the transformation sexy, right? So future pace their success, and make sure that your prospect is always reminded of their desired transformation. And so make them visualize what success looks like, right, in their head. And then next, use adjectives that can convey ease. So add more verbiage that reassures your prospect that the offer is easy, right? So easy, simple, fast. Just like adjectives that say, hey, like like if you sign up now, or like if you take up this offer, it's going to be easy for you to take it up. So easy for you to do the transformation. It's going to be easy, right? And like if your offer or the product that you're promoting is actually like a good product, it's going to be truthful, right? Easy.
Awesome.
Next, we're going to have repetitive language, right? So actually this like quite a lot with a lot of the copy that I personally edit for clients.
Right.
And if it's like super repetitive, if it overuses a lot of words that make the writing feel like the prospect's reading the same words over and over again, it's gonna be bad. And like like a lot of writers who like don't, I guess, don't really know how to write properly, they'll kind of lean in on words that these over and over again, like discover blah blah, discover blah blah, discover blah blah, and it's just like it just feels like yeah. So like make sure that there's a narrative arc. So use proper storytelling. Don't just repeat like the same story over and over again. And when in doubt, use a thesaurus, right? So make sure that the words you're using are varied. So instead of just like using like discover, use like uncover, or use get and blah blah, or pull back the curtain on blah blah, right? So use different words.
And using the the vocabulary or the thesaurus on your paper, it's fantastic. I mean, quick fact, obviously English is not my the language that we speak in Romania, the country where I was born. I moved to the US when I was older. So long story short, when I started going to college in the US, writing composition, like you had to be good no matter what college you were in. I was at Penn State, so you had to be good at everything. Long story short, this is what saved me, and I got a lot of A's. So even if English is not your first language, it's so powerful to pretty much look for a synonym. So if the word that is discover, just look for a synonym of that word, right? So it's got to make your paper or basically your copywriting look fantastic. I mean, it got me somewhere, right? I mean, I tricked them for a while there. So it sounds silly or it sounds like an easy trick, but I agree, it's fantastic.
Yeah. actually used this tactic in elementary school, and like one of the papers that I wrote, my elementary school teacher was like, hey, like Daniel, like your vocabulary is like way too good, like you obviously didn't write this, and I was like, what? So
I
so
know, it's
yeah, so
such an easy
it's such a
trick.
good trick. It's a good trick.
Awesome.
Funny. Okay, so next one. Um, so like if your copy is completely dry, and this is kind of similar to the whole like logical thing, right? So if your copy doesn't list a lot of emotions or take prospects through their emotional journey, or just states things in a matter-of-fact way, then it's too dry and it might not convert as well, right? Because your whole point is to entertain the prospect, not bore them with logic. How to fix it: liven up the phrasing, so add more words that add more visuals and paint like a stronger picture. And then also do more storytelling, right? So like narratives and feature pacing, right? So yeah, just like one thing I like to do is like to like basically just like distance myself away from it for a little bit, then then come back to it and be like, okay, well, like is this actually interesting to me? Because if it's not, then it probably needs more storytelling or more visual phrasing. Next is not conversational. So if your copy reads kind of stiff and robotic, almost forced, then it doesn't sound like something like an actual human would say, then it's probably bad. So how to fix it: read it out loud and use transitory phrases, right? So don't leave things, or like don't make things kind of awkward between sections. And then always read copy out loud, because sometimes like it just sounds like you're kind of forcing something. And yeah, good copy has to read like a real human to human, interaction. Like no matter it, if it's like direct response copy, or like conversion copy, or an email, or like an ad, or like a landing page, the highest converting copy is conversational.
Do you still read your copy out loud, or you got to the point where like, I'm sure it's conversational because I'm so good?
That's a good question. For the first 5 years or so, I had to read everything out loud.
Nice.
These days, I guess I've had some, I guess, automatic processes like in my head that allowed me to actually do that without actually reading it.
Well, but I mean, 5 years is something, and I agree. In order to become really good at something, you really have to take your time to, obviously become an expert. So, I mean, for a lot of the new copywriters or the affiliates that are needing copy for their ads, remember, it takes a while. So it's okay to read stuff out loud or use the vocabulary when you need it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, the next one is overly selfish. So this is actually a mistake that a lot of new copywriters make, or like new I guess offer owners, business owners, and that is the copy is overly selfish. So the copy focuses on too much on what you personally value on your offer, not enough on how it actually helps the prospect. All right, and like so a lot of the times, what you might find good about your offer, your prospect might not really care about. And honestly, this took me like years and years to like learn. Because let's say that like you really care about the craftsmanship and blah 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 blah, right? If your physical product, but the customer is like, okay, well, I just like that it solves this problem, and I don't really care how it's built, right? So yeah, so like always trying to come up with better angles, big ideas that better resonates with the prospect and the problem that they're trying to solve with your offer as a solution. And then also dig deeper into psychographics, right? So learn as much about the prospect as possible, and then really try to get into their head and like why they might be trying to choose this offer. Okay. Next we got wrong tone. So wrong tone. Your copy makes your brand come off incongruent with how you want to be portrayed. So like if you're like a luxury brand and your copy just makes you sound like you're some amateur, or like if you're like a grassroots kind of company with a grassroots offer, and your company and your copy tone makes you kind of sound like pretentious and like stuck up,
Yeah.
that's both bad. So how to fix it? Create a brand voice document, and then also assume a persona when writing. So like visualize like a character in your head, and then write in a tone that they'd find relatable. And also have a document that encapsulates how to properly phrase sentiments. So examples of phrasing that this character would actually say, and examples of phrasing that this character wouldn't say. Right. So tone is very important. This is also one of the most common mistakes for new offer owners or like new like affiliates, where they kind of just copy whatever whatever Gary Halbert says, or like whatever or like they like copy their like competition, and like it just sounds weird. It just like it doesn't sound like a brand. It just sounds like forced writing that is kind of copycat of someone else.
Right.
Yeah.
We obviously see that a lot. So
Yeah. So next one we have not relatable. So if your copy isn't relatable to your prospect and they don't see themselves as someone that your offer can genuinely help, then that's obviously bad. And so what you can do is you can craft a more specific narrative, right? So like write a hook that actually hooks to them specifically, and then follow up with a story that helps them relate, right? So like storytelling, and then more use more of their words. So do more research on the phrasing that the prospect actually uses. So yeah, like if you're writing to like a younger crowd, or like an older crowd, or like a more middle-aged crowd, or like crowd of men, or crowd of women, or like whatever, you need to use words that they would actually use. Like if you don't use their words, then it's gonna sound like it's not relatable to them, and yeah. So it's very important to write words and write stories that your ideal customer avatar can really like be like, oh wow, like that's me, and they clearly know me, and we can be friends. Yeah.
that's true. I mean, I think if you're advertising something to I don't know, 20-year-old, if you use something like YOLO, it would make more sense than giving them a quote from Steve Jobs, because they might be, who's that, right?
Yeah.
You're right.
Yep. Okay, next one. Too much jargon. So if your copy assumes that your prospect knows way too much about vertical specific information and vocabulary, then it's bad. Because you run the risk of the copy, kind of just being like, huh? and then they don't really, I guess, understand what you're trying to say, because if they come across words that they don't understand too often, they're gonna assume that this offer is not for them, right? So what you can do is you can simplify your writing. Use words that are simpler to understand, and then also use more direct analogies. And then incorporate analogies that help with comprehension. So like let's say that you're trying to target like college students, right? You want to use more simple words, and then you want to use analogies that a college student would understand, right? So like for example, like let's say like you're selling like a product that does X, right? Well, you can say, okay, well, similar to living in a dorm, X is blah blah, right? So so use analogies that are like, okay, like wow, like or like okay, use analogies that your prospect can see, that your prospect can see themselves doing, because when they picture themselves doing that thing, or like being that environment, like they can tie it directly to your product. And yeah, this took me like quite a while to like learn, but like once I did this, wow, like conversion rates amazing.
So they can visualize themselves doing that. So if it's a college student, talk about, I was in the other dorm and something happened, right?
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I never thought about it like that. Fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. Next one is bad assumptions. So your copy assumes too many incorrect details about the prospect, to the point where you they feel like you don't understand them, right? So this I see this quite a lot, even in like more like advanced copywriters or like advanced business owners. So like so like if they assume too many incorrect things about their buyer persona, it's gonna feel like kind of insulting. and yeah, so it's all about analyzing the top of funnel traffic, going to this asset, whether it's like a ad like a landing page or like an email, and yeah, so like try to zoom out a bit more if this happens. Don't go as narrow, and then also interview more customers and look for broader similarities, right? So like you don't want to assume that um, every single one of your customer base is X, Y, and Z. Like if most of your customer base who are good customers is only Z but not X and Y, then they're gonna feel kind of insulted and be like, okay, yeah, this is this is not the right product for me.
Right. And I mean, goes back with the bad assumptions. I like that you put the second, how to fix it, study your prospects, because if you really know how the customer thinks and the psychology, is going to be very hard to make bad assumptions if you actually study the prospects. So obviously, I agree. Good one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always important to always study the prospect. Next one is not enough benefits. Your copy lists a lot of information about features, but not enough to tie them into tangible and directly relevant benefits. So yeah, I'm going to be more customers and use more fast station bullets, right? Tie every benefit, or tie every feature into a benefit, and then find more specific use cases from real customers, and then write them out after you interview your customers, so that you can list like enough benefits and then tie the right features to the right benefits. Because this is actually something I guess kind of advanced ish, where okay, so like let's say that a company is very used to selling to their prime audience, right? Where or like their primary market, their primary market really cares about features, because their primary market is already like a hot, I guess, buyer, right? Their primary market might only want to deep dive into like only features, right? So for example, cars, right? Torque, horsepower,
Oh,
blah blah,
right.
right? So like that is the, I guess, the hardcore enthusiast market that cares a lot about features, right? But if the company wants to tap into a wider market, or like go into a different market, they're going to have to connect features to benefits for those other markets. Yeah.
Fantastic. Benefits, not facts.
Yeah. 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 Because like while it is possible to sell like using features to like one market, if you want to grow your company and tap into different markets, yeah, it's not going to happen.
Right, and think about supplements too. I mean, it's wonderful to write the benefits of using organic, ingredients or all the other good stuff. But most importantly for the customer, more than how great the facts are, they want the benefits for themselves. Why is it good for me that the supplement is organic? So great, fantastic. And I'm listening to you here. I'm making notes, and it's thank you for offering so much knowledge, and you're so cool about it. It's almost like, oh, here is my entire livelihood, and I'm just giving all this great information out for free. So I always love people like this that have that abundance mindset. I mean, I can see you don't mind, like you would be excited for other copywriters to use the tools and be successful, and I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Always glad to share my knowledge. Okay. Next is speaks too broadly. So if your copy doesn't specifically talk to one person, but assumes that you're speaking to several people, then it's kind of bad, right? So how to fix it? Use more you language. So yeah. So like there's nothing worse than reading like an email and then saying it, and then hearing like, oh, like you guys, or everyone, blah blah, right? So like copy, well, like good copy speaks to like one person, like one person only, right? Kind of similar to like a conversation.
Yeah.
And also like a tactic that I use is also call out the prospect early on. So make sure that the copy grabs the prospect from the beginning and then calls them out. Yeah, so like so like when the prospect reads the copy, they need to be like, okay, well, this copy is clearly speaking to me and only me, even if it's really not.
Awesome. So besides using like the person's name, so let's say we send an email to our list. Obviously, we're gonna say, "Hey, John. Hey, Amanda. What else can I do to make sure I call the prospect on like right away?"
Yeah, great question. So one of the best ways to call up the prospect early on is to basically ask or like tell a story, or like ask questions that like make them say, wow, like this is me, right? So so like tell a story that kind of hits them where they're like at, and then relates to their pain points, and then just like do that like at the beginning, for like a little bit. Then you can transition to like whatever you want to say, and then transition to the close, right? So it's important to have the prospect kind of visualize like, okay, like this emailer knows my struggles, and like they might know how to fix these issues that I have.
Makes sense, because you don't want to risk having them read 3 paragraphs before they realize, oh, it's really targeting me, or oh yeah, I do have weight loss problems, or I do struggle with back pain, or anything like that. So awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. They're definitely not going to read that long if they don't know that the copy is for them like right away. Yeah. Next is weak call to action. So your copy's call to action contains too much friction to the point where the prospect isn't inspired enough to take the next step forward. And how to fix it: improve the lead and copy. So change up the copy that leads into the main call to action with better transition copy, and or you can overhaul the offer's positioning. So make the offer objectively better and like reduce risk, right? So when a prospect like before a prospect becomes a buyer, they're going to be like, like if I book a call, or like buy now, is this going to be a decision that I'm going to regret? And yeah, like it's like the human thing, right? Like we don't want to make bad decisions.
Right.
So it's important to reduce friction as much as possible before your call to action. And yeah, so risk reduction guarantees, and also improve the lead and copy to include more benefits and more feature pacing. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot. I mean, even for us, I used to forget how important the CTA is, because you focus on the benefits, you want to add value, you want to make sure the copy is impeccable, and you forget that the customer has to click somewhere in order to get to your product. So the call to action it has to be very obvious, and the lead in copy is important.
Yeah, absolutely. Next we have poor structure. So your copy contains sales arguments that are poorly timed and aren't cohesive, making it difficult for prospects to follow. So so it's important to like follow like a framework, whether it's AIDA or PASS. So attention to interest, desire action, or problem, agitate, solution, or something else. Make sure that you're writing copy with intention, and not just writing random words. Yeah, and then also I'm interviewing more actual buyers. So and then find the eureka moment and frame the copy to lead to that point. So like what I mean by eureka moment is like a moment where your prospect is, or like or like the moment where your customer feels, wow, like this is truly life changing, right? Like this offer truly changed me. And if you can capture that moment and translate it onto your sales page, onto your landing page, onto your ad, and kind of tease at it, then it's going to be good. So yeah, use proper structure and the right sales arguments.
Yeah, and it's the second time you mentioned this, and interviewing more buyers, or at least being really aware of all the testimonials and what the customers have to say. I mean, is not to go back to the stereotype of marketing 101, but you really do need to know and understand what the customers need, right? So only by interviewing and figuring out the testimonials, and maybe one of them is even going to tell you what the eureka moment was, so you can reincorporate that into another ad. So it's really, really important to know what the customers think. So yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Next is too vague.
Mm,
So if your copy doesn't hone in on the specifics of the right pain points and how your offer will specifically get your prospects what they want, then it's too vague, right? So the copy has to like specifically hit the right pain points and then say and then bridge the gap between where they're like at and then where they want to be, and with your offer as that bridge. How to fix it? Write more concisely. Search for more fluffy parts of the copy and try to say more with less. And then also restudy the core benefits, right? So go back to the drawing board and then make sure that the benefits that you're putting down are the actual relevant benefits that the prospect actually is searching for. So be like super specific on pain points, and don't write in a way where it's just like, don't write in a way where the benefits aren't completely transparent to the prospect, basically.
right.
Next, overly pushy. If your copy comes off as pressuring prospects into the sale instead of elevating desire, and using psychological triggers, then it's overly pushy. So like you don't want to, I guess, pressure people because psychologically, like the more humans feel pressured, the more they don't really want to buy.
Yeah, they'll,
So
they'll they'll be more reluctant if they feel they're being pushed.
yeah. So like what you want to do is you want to use less aggressive statements. Don't use like a demanding tone. Don't like it's okay to be like assertive, but like don't be overly assertive to the point where like you're kind of cramming the offer down their throats.
Mm,
And then also build up the sales argument, right? So create a more clearly defined narrative that better positions the offer. And so basically, when prospects read your sales page, they want to say, okay, like this offer has X, Y, Z, and it's going to help me do A, B, and C. And the reason why I should act now is N, P, and Q, and this is why I should act. And then boom, closed. Right. So like you want to build up the sales argument with a clearly defined narrative, then have them convince themselves because the copy is just so targeted at them, and because the copy is so good at conveying like the desired transformation
mm.
in a time frame that they're looking for, right? So you don't want to push them, you want to make them convince themselves. Next, weak hooks. Your copy doesn't do a good job at piquing curiosity and holding attention at beginnings of sections where it matters most. So whether that's like above the fold or like a headline, like a sub headline, or um, you basically have to like hook people where they're like skimming, right? And what you can do is you can try a counterintuitive hook. So use a hook that goes against common knowledge, yet ties back into the offer. So like for example, like 10 things you might not know about blah blah, all right, or something like that. So like something that runs counter, or something that runs counter to common knowledge, right? So like why eating less fat might make you gain weight. You know, like that's like it's like a random example, but like something that makes people go like, whoa, wait, what? and those hooks are very, very powerful because it kind of snaps them out and kind of acts as a pattern interrupt, right? And yeah, next you can also open up like a strong curiosity loop. So yeah, so like create phrasing that piques desire to figure out how the story ends. And yeah, so super important to write in a way that hooks them and keeps them reading. Then actually doesn't resolve their curiosity until they actually buy your offer. Okay, let's see. Next, terrible formatting. If your copy is hard to read and provides poor UX, your prospects' eyes get fatigued and they're not sure where to look. So make sure that the text is like skimmable. Break up large chunks of text and make sure the copy works for skimmers. And then watch prospects in real time. So use Hotjar, use heat mapping software to figure out what prospects are doing, and make sure that you're that not only is your copy good, but your UX is good as well. Okay. Next, confusing messaging. So your copy doesn't create and build on a single narrative, feels disjointed, confusing, and creates tangents that are hard to follow. How to fix it? Rethink the main big idea, and then create more logical transitions, right? So make sure that each section kind of seamlessly transitions, to the next, and make sure that there's no gap in logic, right? So like, for example, like let's say that you're trying to sell something and like you're saying, this the software's good because of A, B, and then therefore C, right? But like let's say that like that like C is a little bit kind of like far out there and like or like so A, B, so then D, right? But if you're missing C, then it's bad. So like you need to make sure that the logical transitions between sales arguments, or like sorry, you need to make sure that the transitions between your sales arguments are very, very clear. Otherwise, you're gonna lose people. And yeah,
we don't want that.
Correct.
And quick counts, guys, remember?
Okay. Next, overly long sentences. So this one's pretty self-explanatory. If your copy contains too many long sentences, then it's bad. How to fix it? Front load benefits and reduce comma usage. So yeah, so like a lot of comma usage, or like a lot of commas could be periods to make things easier to read. Then a lot of benefits could be front loaded, meaning that, so like let's say that you write a sentence, right, and they have to read like 10 to like 20 words before they actually figure out what the benefit of that sentence is. Then that's bad. So like you want to write in a way that front loads the benefits and makes it so that they can skim and still understand what you're trying to say. Next, broken English. So if your copy contains typos or grammar mistakes, it's going to create this halo effect that makes your brand seem unprofessional. And yeah. So like you're trying to promote an offer and your grammar and typos are everywhere. And like is this going to make your prospect lose all trust in you? Unless you're selling to a non-US market, in which case, then if you, I guess, like if you write as well as your market reads, then I guess it's okay. But if you're targeting like a US market and you have typos and grammar mistakes, it's gonna kill the offer completely.
And there's so many good tools that don't cost a lot that can really help with this. So Grammarly or any other tool like Hemingway can help. And it's, again, they're not expensive tools that you can use. And copywriting, it doesn't matter if you're the product owner or the affiliate, is definitely going to help you and improve your clicks and click-through rate. So lots of tools. If you're not comfortable with it yourself, it's really not a problem. It can be easily fixed.
Yeah. A really common tool that I use, is like Grammarly. Then I also use so I also use this thing called TTS Reader, and basically what it is that like you can put your paragraphs into it, and then have the machine read it to you. Then this way you can catch any like awkward phrasing or like typos there also as well.
That's awesome. It's the first time I'm hearing of it. It's TTS Reader, right?
Yeah, just like Google TTS Reader, and then should be one of the links. I think I use like Natural Reader. Yeah, naturalreaders.com. Yeah, that's what I use.
Awesome. I love tools. We had a whole section in our blogs too that are always about tools. Because I know they're out there. I know how many we use for native or social. So that's always fantastic. TTS Reader. I'll start using it. If Danielle uses it, I have to as well. So
yeah. And also with like Grammarly, Grammarly Pro is actually really good. Like it's actually a lot better than the free version.
It is. I'm one of my past speeches. I focused the entire presentation on the tools that we use, because I realized what's common sense for a lot of us that we've been doing this for so long. It's not the same for the newbies in our industry. So long story short, Grammarly was definitely on the list, and Grammarly Pro definitely worth the money. So even if you just write a lot of emails every day, you should be using Grammarly, because you never know. So wonderful tool. We should get an affiliate link from Grammarly, because we're probably giving them a lot of customers. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. Yeah. So what you can do is you can use grammar checking tools. But another thing that I do is like distance myself from the copy and then read it with fresh eyes. Yeah, because because even though I've been writing for like years and years and years, I still make like really silly mistakes sometimes that I catch if I distance myself from the copy and then see it again like in a day or like 2 days. Yeah.
Smart. So you always give yourself a bit of time to come back and read through it.
Yeah, correct. Okay. Next one is not enough value. So if your copy doesn't convey a strong sense of value to feel like they're getting more than a fair deal, then they're probably not gonna get it, right? Because so in order to like sell something, anything really, you have to convince the prospect that what you're selling is worth a lot more than what they're paying for it. And with copy, that you're like, yeah. So like when you're selling something online, copy is typically like copy and like design, and is how you're going to convey that value, right? So like you need to focus on relevant bonuses and lean in on extra perks to reassure that prospects that they're getting a lot. So yeah. So this is a pretty common thing among online offers, where you basically stack bonuses and bonuses and bonuses, which is good. And then also position it for the right people. So make sure that the copy positions the offer in a way that's unique to the market and doesn't present it as a commodity, right? So like, let's say that you're selling something to help with problem X, right? There's going to be a lot of other people that are helping with problem X as well, selling offers and blah blah. So like what you want to do is so like you don't want to be just another person selling X, because then you're just gonna blend in.
Right.
You're gonna want to position yourself as an offer that solves X for people who are Y, right? And yeah, so it's kind of like micro niching ish, where it's like you're niching down one step further in order to really better help people who want X but are Y, right? Because like let's say that there's a fat loss offer, right? There's a lot of fat loss offers out there, and most people who want to lose weight, they don't really like a generic fat loss offer isn't gonna really be sexy to them. If, if they're gonna want something like, okay, like a fat loss offer for busy dads who are blah blah, right? Or like fat loss offer for
new mom.
Yeah. So basically use cases, like personas matter a lot more than the generic problem, right? Like, yeah. So it's all about zooming in on that target market and positioning yourself for the right people, and that's how you convey the most value. Even if your product is kind of like just it's like a normal offer, but it's gonna be targeted towards those specific use cases. So even if your offer works for both busy dads and new moms, just focusing on just one target market will make it seem more valuable.
Of course, and especially in ads, right? Because I know a lot of you guys that are going to be watching this later. Think about it when you're pulling up that new ad on YouTube, and we'll be creating that small video on that new weight loss offer. Daniel is right. You can do two ads, one of them, because it's going to work for both, right? So you can do one for the busy dads who never have time to exercise, or the new moms that have several children. So that's such a great point. And we, even if it's broad and we can sell it to everyone, when we do our ads, we should be specific, because it's probably going to relate so much better to that mom or dad reading the ad.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, next one is unclear sentiments. So if your copy contains wording that requires your prospect to read multiple times in order to try to figure out what you're saying, then that's obviously bad. So you want to read with customers' eyes. Put yourself in the prospect's shoes, and then read it, and then get a third-party perspective. So ask someone to review and identify any potentially confusing trains thought. Yes, because a lot of the times when we are the offer owner, or we are the product owner, we're too close to our offer, and so it's important to really get either your customer's perspective or another perspective to make sure that what you're saying isn't confusing, right? So because when you know a lot about something, you tend to write in a way that assumes that your audience also knows a lot about that thing.
You're right.
And this could be a trap when it comes to markets that aren't completely knowledgeable of what it is that you're selling.
Yeah, like when everyone was on the keto diet, and I personally knew nothing of it. It was always very hard to catch up and understand all the micronutrients and how you calculate certain things. It really is Chinese if you're not knowledgeable, or if you just don't know much about it. So that's a really good point. Even if a lot of people know a lot about the specific topic, don't assume that the people reading do, because that's our job to tell them the details that with the copy. That's what we're trying to fix, to be informative, not to let them guessing. So
awesome. Yep. Okay. Next is not skimmable enough. So if your copy doesn't contain enough elements that can be parsed at a glance, and prospects have to wade through long chunks of text, then that's obviously bad. How to fix it? You need to split long sections up into shorter sections, and then also bold key value phrases. So highlight words that stand out as relevant to the prospect, so that when they're skimming through your sales page, they could be better tuned to the benefits, instead of just oh wow, this is a giant wall text, I'm not going to read it.
Yep.
The next one is wrong headspace. Your copy contains an angle that assumes that your prospect believes something that makes them receptive to your offer, but they're not, right? So like what this means is that like if you assume that your prospect, uh, believes that he or she is X, so then you need to sell them product A. Like if you really like if they don't really believe X, then they're not going to read anything else, right? So it's important to really, survey customers and trace the prospect's journey to make sure that your messaging is like properly aligned with where they're like at, right? Because yeah, so like for example, like let's say that you're writing an offer that is selling, let's say like a keto offer, right? But if your prospect doesn't know anything about keto and you don't educate them about keto, then then you're incorrectly assuming that they know keto when they don't.
Right.
Therefore, you've lost the sale.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, next. Unconfident frame. Your copy contains wording that suggests that you're not fully confident in the value that you provide to your prospect. And yeah, so if you're not confident that your offer is going to be helpful, your prospect is not going to be confident either. And yeah, so add more certainty. So be more assertive about you being able to like help them, and then don't use words such as if. So just like reframe the sentiment better, right? So yeah, so just write in a way that assumes that you are 100% sure that you can help if the prospect meets your qualifications.
Hmm.
Okay, next, joining sentences. Your copy contains two main sentences with similar length and tone, creating an ambiance that puts prospects to sleep. So like if you have a bunch of sentences that are around 10 words long and it's just like blah 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 blah, like it's gonna sound like a college lecture. What you want to do is you want to add shorter sentences and like one or two word phrases in between, and add more emotional pull. And yeah, because like the last thing you want to do is just write in a way that is too monotonous or like too like rhythmic to the point where it's just very very like a steady rhythm.
Mhm.
Some of the best ads out there really vary their sentence length quite a lot
Sure.
on purpose to snap people out of trances and to capture their attention better. Okay, next, lack of flow. Your copy doesn't transition properly between ideas. Your words and sentences feel stiff. And how to fix it? Revise sentences individually. So like within each paragraph, add each sentence by itself to make sure that it flows. Then also, so like what usually happens when you edit for like flow is sometimes that you'll edit like one or two paragraphs and it's good, but then it's not going to transition properly to the next paragraphs, right? So so what I like to do is edit two paragraphs at a time, or like two sections at a time. Keeping eyes between both sections, and then editing to make sure that both things flow into each other. Next is unnecessary details. Your copy drones on and reveals too much about your offer that your prospect does not currently care to learn about. Yeah, and basically, this is when you kind of this is when you kind of assume things that your prospect thinks, or like when you assume things that your prospect might be interested in, but they're not really interested in. Yeah.
Got it.
And how to fix it? Make sure that the use case is super focused, and focus just on the best use case for the prospect, not all the use cases, right? So like for example, like let's say that your offer helps you know your offer helps to clean like a sink or something, right? Like even though your offer can do like a billion other things, it's might like that like it might not be beneficial to list like 100 things that your offer can like help them, right? Like just list their core use case. And then yeah, and this goes hand in hand with removing irrelevant features, and yeah, so only list things that are relevant to them, basically. The next one is relevant benefits. So this is kind of similar to the last one. Your copy hearts on benefits that aren't strong enough to motivate the prospect to act. They don't matter that much. So basically, if your offer has, like, let's say 5 benefits, and and like and like 4 of them are decent benefits, but then one of them is like like a much more better benefit than like the others, then harp on that one instead, right? So like find the right benefits, study your target market to find out their biggest pain points, and place the strongest benefit first, right? And front load it. Okay. Next one is accidentally insulting. Your copy makes your prospects feel belittled, like you're assuming that they're idiots and or judging them for their insecurities. So yeah, so don't be accidentally insulting. Ease up on on the negative tone. Try to frame the copy in a more positive light, and review your persona to make sure that you're not making them feel dumb. Yeah, so like let's say that you're selling to an audience that knows keto, right? And you spend like 5 pages explaining them what keto is. It's gonna make them just feel like, okay, like they're assuming that I'm dumb.
After the first paragraph.
Yeah. So so that all goes back to learning more about your buyer and talking to them, and making them feel heard, and not making them feel like they're idiots. Okay, next is not enough proof. So if your copy doesn't offer enough tangible and demonstrable proof that the offer is as effective as advertised, then you're gonna have a problem. Because yeah, sure, like you make claims, blah blah, right? But if you don't provide them certainty that it's actually gonna work for them, then that's bad. So like what you can do is you can add visual demonstrations that clearly showcases the offer being very effective for customers. And then sprinkle in testimonials, wins from personas that are similar to your prospect, and yeah, just add a lot of proof, visual demonstrations, and like as much as you can without, so like as much as you can without it being too obnoxious. Yeah. Next, lack of urgency. If your copy doesn't give a good reason as to why the prospect should act immediately, then they're probably not going to act, right? So a good way to do this is to tease fast action bonuses. So give them a real incentive or bonus if they act within a given time frame. So promotions really good for this. Like, you can get free shipping plus $50 off if you buy this before Christmas. Something like that. And yeah, and also bring to like real scarcity, right? And make sure that they know the drawbacks of not acting as soon as possible. So like an example of this might be to be like, like we've only made sorry, we've only made 100 of this product. If it sells out, we don't know when we're gonna get the next shipment in, right? So something that is real scarcity that motivates them to act now. Otherwise, they're gonna be like, I probably don't need this right now. So yeah. Let's see. Next, risky proposition. your copy's call to action feels like it's going to incur too much risk for prospects. Perhaps they're worried about a hard sell or time wasted, right? So yeah, so like make sure that your call to action is risk-free, and make sure that prospects will understand that they're going to win even if it's not a good fit. So this is like super important, because like let's say that your offer is like kind of like a service-based offer. They're worried that they're gonna hop onto a sales call with you, and like you're gonna kind of guilt trip them into buying something that they don't need, and it's just like not like a win-win for like anyone. Yeah, so make sure that they're gonna benefit for hitting that call to action, even if they might not be the right fit, right? Like for our product business, this is typically on the form of like a risk-free money-back guarantee, where if they take it and an account works, but it doesn't work to their full satisfaction, they can at least get their money back.
Good one. The team just told me we've already been doing this for an hour, which is fantastic. I know, right? So I just want to let everyone know. I promise, like, I really want to let Daniel go through all the slides because are so important. But I promise you, we will hunt him down. So any questions you have, we will get him to him, and we will make sure to answer them all. So I'll let Daniel go through all the slides because that's really important. So any questions you have, we'll tag Daniel on Facebook. Maybe he'll be nice enough later on to answer. And if not, we'll hunt him down and we'll email you back with all your questions. So don't worry about that one. So sorry. Cool. And thank you, Daniel. Go ahead. This is great, and I really want us to go through all of them because it's really useful information.
Awesome. Yeah. So let's see. So risky proposition. Next one, overly emotional. So like this is the opposite of the overly logical one. But if your copy leans too hard on emotion, tries to go for a super emotional driven angle without a proper sales argument, then that's obviously really bad. And how to fix it? Transition the hook into logic. So like after the emotional hook, make sure to transition it properly into logic. And then add more proof, right? So lean the copy back towards logic with more proof of customer success, right? So like if the copy is too emotional and there's no proof, there's no logic, then like it might appeal to like certain buyers who are pure emotion, but yeah, it's not going to be effective as copy that is that like leads with emotion, transitions into logic, and then ends on emotion. Let's see. Next one is unclear pronouns. So this one's actually pretty common. So like if your copy uses a lot of vague nouns and pronouns that make it extremely difficult for the prospect to understand what's going on, that's bad. And like typically, like these are pronouns like it, he, she, they, them. So like good copywriting tries to eliminate uncertainty and vagueness. So yeah, so like remove most pronouns and incorporate more specific nouns, right? So like instead of like he, like use a proper noun. Instead of they, use a better term. Yeah. Let's see. Next, not enough desire. Your copy says a lot about the offer, but doesn't do enough to make the offer feel enticing enough for prospects to want it. So yeah, so let's say that you're listing like a lot of benefits and features and blah blah, but at the end of it all, they don't really want it. Then yeah, that's bad. How to fix it? Feature pace more often. So include more copy about the promised land and how your offer is the vehicle to help them get there. Yeah, so you always want to be reminding them of what your benefits will lead to for them. And then also create a real unique mechanism, right? tease benefits that can only be achieved with your specific offer, right? So like you know, to like call back to the example earlier, where like let's say that you're selling weight loss for busy dads, right? Um, so it's important to like tell why the offer is specifically for busy dads, and like why your weight loss offer is better for just busy dads than other markets, right? So tease benefits that can only be achieved with your offer compared to other offers in the market that aren't as targeted, basically.
Right.
Yeah, and that's how you elevate desire. Okay, next, lexically verbose. Your copy uses a lot more words than necessary to convey a sentiment that could be clearly expressed in a more concise way. Yeah, so like if your copy contains too many words to like explain something that could be expressed in a simpler way, then that's bad. So use fewer syllables in words, and have less convoluted phrasing. Split sentences with multiple commas into multiple sentences. Yeah, so just be more simple. Next, undermine offer. Your copy attempts to convey that the offer is a good deal by offering like a reduced price, but it backfires due to poor positioning. Right. So like let's say that you're selling something, and you're like, okay, well, I know that my price point's kind of expensive, so I'm going to give a discount to, you know, make it more like receptive to that market, right? The problem though is that, like, you know, when or like if you don't discount properly, your offer's gonna feel like it's a cheap offer, and it's just not gonna be like good, right? So so you have to position the discount better, right? So like if you're so if your company's always writing like a 50% off discount all the time, then it kind of like your customers, I guess, know that, then like they're gonna catch on. They're gonna be like, okay, well, like this place is always half off, so that's why not that good anyway.
Right.
Yeah, and then also add more relevant bonuses, right? So so instead of, you know, discounting, you need to add more bonuses that, you know, move the prospect forward. This way, like instead of just lowering the I guess value of your product, you can make your product more valuable by giving more for the same price, instead of giving baseline value for like less, right? So yeah, so it's like better positioning by not discounting as much, but like providing more value than the competition, basically. Okay. Next is weak transformation. So your copy doesn't accurately reflect the strength of the offer and magnitude of the desired outcome. And yeah, so like if there is a transformation, but it seems like it's kind of weak, then that's bad. Like when prospects pay for something, they want something that is gonna change their situation for the better, in a powerful way, right? So like so that's why, like, I guess offers that, you know, kind of like improve something, you know, like or like get more fit, or be like smarter, blah blah, like that doesn't resonate as much as, you know, like lose X pounds in X time, or like raise your IQ by 10 points in 2 months, or right? So like so always try to clarify the result, make the copy more goal oriented instead of improvement oriented, and also improve the offer positioning. Ensure that the transformation is readily apparent from the beginning. And yeah, so don't just tell someone, hey, I want to make you better. Really future pace, like what their life will be like after the transformation, and like why it's like way better than you know now. And like do it in a way that where like they can visualize, wow, like my life is just completely different. Yeah. Next is the buried lead. Oops. So your copy hides the most unique parts of the offer and doesn't immediately highlight your core selling proposition. Yeah. So what you want to do is you want to hone in on your value prop and create like a better hook. So yeah, so you have to, I guess, well, it depends on if you're writing like an ad or landing page or a sales letter, but you need to highlight the most unique parts of the offer, yeah, make sure that your hook is good, and make sure that your prospect knows exactly what they're gonna get if they finish reading the page or the ad. Next is not enough expertise. Your copy sounds like you don't know what you're talking about, and clearly sounds like you're trying to make stuff up. How to fix it? Use more specific claims. Don't use unfounded claims and phrasing that makes a claim sound vague. And also incorporate more numbers, right? So add more specific numbers throughout the copy to make it more believable. Because even if something is true, which it should be if you're writing copy, you need to be specific, because like there's a lot of offers out there, and there's a lot of there's a lot of BS out there, right? and so the more specific you get, like the more data you can throw at them in the right places, the more likely that the process will be like, okay, well, this sure like this is a very common claim, but like with this offer, like it just seems like, wow, like they're not BSing. Yeah. And then next, cliche angle. So if your copy uses messaging that's already rampant, like the market, and doesn't feel fresh or unique, then that's bad. And yeah, so what you need to do is you need to do more competitive research and find an angle tech that hasn't already been used, and then create like a unique mechanism, right? So find a better way to convey how your offer differs in terms of process or result, right? So don't use an angle that's like just like everyone's saying that or like if everyone's saying X, Y, and Z, like you're also saying X, Y, and Z, then it just makes it seem like you're kind of like a commodity, right? So you want to create an like want to create an angle that makes you seem wow, okay, this offer is clearly different because of A, B, and C. Therefore, I can't compare it to any other offer. Therefore, this is in a category of its own, basically. Yeah. Okay. So how do we avoid these mistakes? Well, we need to dig deeper to understand your ideal customers better. How do we do this? Survey customers. Keep the questions short and don't send more than a handful at a time. Give them compelling incentives to participate. Pretty straightforward. Data analytics. Study data and come up with hypotheses that you can test and prove or disprove, with A/B testing. Watch customers. Go one-on-one with your customer base and ask them to narrate their thought processes as they navigate through your website and or offer. So yeah, one-on-one time watching them. Tap into communities. So figure out where they like to hang out in online communities such as Reddit or Facebook groups, and then observe their behavior, and yeah, communities are a good one. Study industry reports. Find the right resources in your vertical to better understand your audience. So yeah, white papers, industry reports, stuff like that. Do a video call. Ask your ideal customers to hop on a video call, and grill them a bit. Ask them why they chose to buy. Ask them what pain points they've solved with your offer, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Next, create your own community, right? So you can create your own community online that caters to your ideal customer, then interact with them and figure out what makes them tick. Pretty straightforward. Next, map the user journey. So like take a look at all the touch points at which customers have contact with your business, and make sure it's mapped correctly to ensure message journey fit. So yeah, so last thing you want to do is write the right message but to the wrong customer, or the wrong message to the right customer, right? So map the user journey. And then next, use heat maps. Hotjar is a good one. Leverage the power of heat mapping software to understand where drop-off points might be. So whether that's like a pre-sale page, the sales letter, the upsell cross-sell page, the checkout page. Try to figure out where customers will or like where prospects are dropping off, and then try to fix that in terms of copy, in terms of UX, in terms of design, blah blah. Right. Okay. Next, listen to sales calls. So like if you have an offer that requires like sales calls, tap into these sales calls to gain specific insight into what's not going right for customers and how your company can better serve them. So yeah, pretty important. Tap into your email list. So ask your email list subscribers what's bothering them, and then have them hit reply and tell you about them, because that's super important. Next, study your customer's lifetime value. So list your top 3 most profitable customers, and then your top 3 least profitable ones, and then identify the differences in order to disqualify leads who are a poor fit, right? So this is a good way to understand, I guess, what prospects you want to be disqualifying in your copy.
Right. That's a good one. And I know there are some product owner friends that are also affiliate that are going to be watching this later. And this is a great trick that, all the big guys use to really avoid having that average order value too, not just the lifetime value, because if you are able to weed out the customers that usually purchase less, your average order value will increase and you can have a higher CPA for affiliates. So great point right here. I agree.
Yeah. And then next is look at direct competition. Study your positioning relative to the market, and then figure out what their core value props are, and then find the gaps in the market, right? So if you study enough of your competition, you'll figure out what gaps are there that are being underserved, and then by kind of like repositioning your offers, your new product launches to fill these gaps, you're gonna be able to like slowly take over more of that market share, right? So it's super important to figure out what problems to solve for that market, instead of just blindly just like launching offer after offer. Next, learn from support. So like sometimes the best data is found inside customer support tickets. Dig through these tickets to find what customers are struggling with. Yeah, pretty straightforward here. Scope out market alternatives. So like sometimes sometimes your competition might not be competition, but it might be other alternatives to your offer.
Right.
So find out what other ways might your customer be solving the problem that your offer solves in a faster or better way. Then meet them at the problem unaware state that they're in. Yeah. So let's say that your offer is like a done for you offer that helps them gain muscle, let's say, right? Well, the market alternative might be them trying to do it themselves, or like hire like a personal trainer, or blah blah, right? So like try to figure out what your prospects might trying to be try to figure out what your prospects might be doing instead of buying your offer, and then meet them there, and then bridge that gap, and then tell them why your offer is better than what they're trying to do. Yeah. And then lastly, reevaluate your positioning. So like try to figure out what job the customer is trying to get done with your offer, and ask yourself if your offer is targeting the correct use case. So when a prospect buys something, they're trying to solve some kind of problem, right? AKA like a job that they're trying to do. And yeah, so ask yourself if your offer is targeting the right use case, or if you or if you need like slightly reposition your product or offer to solve like a different job, right? Yeah. So so it's important to target the correct use case for your offer to ensure that whatever you're selling is the best way to like solve that problem for that prospect. And yeah, we've reached the end. Hope these tips help.
Honestly, I know they do help because I've learned several key points that are fantastic, and it's going to be a really good go back to for a lot of our affiliates on on copywriting. So I really appreciate it. How I said earlier, for everyone who was tuning in on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please make some time later to watch this on YouTube or Facebook, because the slides are really helpful and you can make some notes. I said it many times and I'll say it again, those are important. Make notes. Every time I go to one of my favorite conferences or I listen to my favorite podcasts, I make a lot of notes and then I implement them. So please do the same. Daniel, one more question. If you want our friends to take away one key thing from the podcast, just one, I know we had 44 plus. If you want them to take away one fact or lesson, what would that be?
Yeah. I'd probably say that so become more self-aware. I guess is very important, because like I feel like a lot of business owners and like offer owners and product owners, they don't know their customer as well as they think they do sometimes, because the market's always changing, right? Time is always moving, passing, and yeah, so like markets shift, and yeah, so it's important to always be like reevaluating your position like in the market, and always try to seek higher levels of self-awareness so that you can best position your offer and help more people.
Awesome. I love it so much. Thank you again for being here. I really appreciate you. And everyone, I promise you, send us your questions. We will hunt Daniel and get any answers you need from him. And have an awesome day. We appreciate you. And reach out with any questions. We love you. Have a productive and very profitable day. Bye, everyone. Bye, Daniel. Thank you again.